We present to your attention a magnificent diamond. This is a pearl called Aurora. Perfectly planned and thoughtful operation to the smallest detail by theft of this stone. Pudding, are you ready? The beauty asked on a wireless communication channel. Do not worry, Mom. Everything is in order, the baby answered. I thought that everything would go smoothly, but did not expect that the precious stone would be stolen. But I will get him. But by mistake, I changed the child. What? Pudding, what happened? She asked. The fact is that I did not wanted to say the baby. And also there's another side. Ayo, come here, baby, he said, an elegantly dressed gentleman. Yeah, Dad, I'm running to your arms, the baby said joyfully. A small trick to steal your mind, and do not try to escape from me, she added. Meet, this is Ann Jiujiu. Age is 23 years old. A person is the best hacker, characteristic and calm, loves to sleep. Do you want me to take you by force? He asked. Meet, this is Ji Jinchen. Age is 25 years old, president of Jishu Group. Character is a cold-blooded language. With such a speed, I will break with you in just 3 seconds, he added. Meet, this is Ao, age 5 years. Personality is a twin brother, has a mature character, has a high IQ. People should hug and compromise, said the baby. Meet Pudding, age 5 years. A personality is a twin brother. Character, hears the voices of ancient spirits. I thought that when I returned to the children I would be fine, but I did not expect... She did not finish the phrase. Mommy, do not worry that you cannot grow us well. I will do everything for you, added Pudding. Who is this mysterious person? Why is he pursuing me? She thought. Miss Ann, please enjoy, he said. What are you doing? Now dress shameless, she screamed. However, the truth of the night 5 years ago gradually opened a happy and harmonious life. A gentle moaning were heard. She said. What happened between them? What will happen between them further? Sometimes so many questions and so few answers. Let's deal with this rather. Perhaps, have you ever seen a wolf? With your own eyes? Her moans spread throughout the room. He laughed her hands and continued to caress. In an immortal dark night, greedy eyes looking at you. The look that every centimeter of your body studies. The eyes are closed. The imagination draws incredible paintings. He gently touched her neck. His touch was very reverent. Bite, capture, grinding, continuation of beautiful lines. Their lips were connected in a passionate kiss. He launched his hand into her luxurious hair. Who are you? Let me go! She continued to speak, not understanding what is happening to her. He threw her on his back and pressed his strong body. In his arms, she felt confident and very exciting. His shirt is unbuttoned, naked, beautiful body, hard muscles, an ideal press. His gaze was full of passion, and this became a little scary and very exciting. Hope to see you again, his voice continued to sound. Mother, mother, mother. Someone's voice sounded in a wireless headset. You heard. What did I say? He asked someone's voice in a wireless headset. Beauty Ann Jiujiu was a hacker of the highest class. She stood on the roof, a night city. I heard everything is ready for me, she answered. And why did I just remember the events of 5 years ago, she thought. Today's auction is a precious stone, Northern Lights, left by the grandmother. The child continued to speak. So fascinating, the game of capturing precious stone. I have long been ready, he answered joyfully. His eyes were full of excitement and admiration. As expected from my son, she added. It remains only to fix your gloves so as not to leave fingerprints. Meet me later according to the plan, she answered. Her gaze was full of determination. The robbery plan was thought out to the smallest detail. The noisy hall is filled with a large number of wealthy guests, each of them in anticipation of spending a large amount of money on the most expensive jewelry. Only the ringing of the bell made them preserve the silence. Thanks to everyone who took part in the jewelry auction from the G Company, the auction is coming to an end. Please make the last slot of today, solemnly announced an employee. Very neatly on special trolleys, the bump has taken out a large white box, inside which the gem Northern Lights sparkled. Started, she said firmly according to her wireless headphone. There is, he confirmed, and his little yellow umbrella swung the switch-tooth switch. Then the most interesting began. Oh, what happened? Disconnecting electricity at such a big event? The Northern Lights have just taken out of the box. I have not yet had time to consider it. Please observe calm. The building has backup power sources. Staff will quickly identify the cause of the malfunction. Please stay in the field. Raising voices in the dark continued to sound. After a couple of minutes, the power supply was restored. Ah! Gemstones! The gem disappeared! Employees shouted indignantly. The glass capsule was absolutely empty. She finished, she joyfully confirmed. What to do? You need to urgently call the police. The cries of the indignant crowd continued to sound in the hall. Baby, you did a good job. Do you remember what we are doing next? She asked. Block all the outputs. Do not let out suspicious persons. Someone screamed from the hall. Calmly, without fear, go through the main hall. There will be a mother's motorcycle, if it cannot be released. Then say that I was lost. Ask the guard's uncle to go for his uncle policeman, and then wait for his mother. The boy listed the instructions. Clever, start, Mom's voice answered. I did not think that the game of capturing the treasure would be so easy. You need to return to Mom as soon as possible, added the baby. And what are you doing here? Someone said from behind. Oh. The baby turned and was very surprised. He was not ready to meet one of the adults now. Damn, they found me, the child thought quickly. Behind him stood a tall, elegant man dressed in a strict gray suit. His gaze was cold. His hands were hidden in the pockets of his trousers. But why does this uncle look so much like me? The baby was surprised, examining the features of his face. Young gentleman, what are you doing here? Another man asked. Finally, we found you. The young master. The director of Ji was looking for you. If we had not found you, the hotels would have come to an end. I'm afraid that the director is already at the limit. Faster returned with the director of Ji. Added by a man. Really, I am a young master? The child thought in surprise. Ow. Come here, in a calm voice, a man with a friend of a suit said, and he held out his long hand. My name is Pudding, and not Ao. The baby thought, all the more, tell me, come here, am I a puppy? He was surprised, but he had clear instructions. He needed to leave the room. Therefore, he began to improvise. Dad, shouted the baby and rushed to his arms. Dad, I did not specifically turn off the electricity. You are not angry, I was wrong, the baby said timidly. Mom said that at a critical moment you need to be able to cling to influential people. This Uncle Handsome looked the most influential here, and he also considers me his son. I must use the enemy's plan to his advantage, the clever baby thought. At this moment, the manager was full of feelings of love for this baby. The young gentleman is so cute, he rejoiced. Director of Ji, do not worry. This is just a disconnection of electricity. He is still too young, please do not touch it, the manager added. It is better to reprimand the guard. There is nothing to scold him for, he added. That is, you are not worried about the fact that he came here, he thought. True. Dad, the baby said joyfully. Director Ji, are you definitely teaching a child to a good child? It's wrong to come here. You need to learn to be responsible for your actions. It is necessary to teach him, and not to indulge, the manager suggested to worry. At that moment, an indignant employee ran in the room. He was very excited. He urgently needed to tell the important news. Director of Ji, trouble happened. The precious stone is the northern lights that we were going to put up for auction. Disappeared, the excited employee said. He did not answer his statement, but his gaze was so serious that it was clear that he was thinking very serious things. The moon illuminated the roof of the building. The night silence was broken by the roar of a metal grate, which was knocked out by a gentle female hand in order to get out of the ventilation shaft. Everything went just wonderful, she added, being on the roof of this building. I hacked the video surveillance camera in advance so they will not find us, and they will not be able to trace our movement, she added. Hey! A voice was heard from behind. For a moment she thought that she had just exposed. How did you suddenly appear from the ground? Are you a demon? She was surprised when she saw a child behind him. It was Pudding, but why did he not act according to the plan? She was surprised. You're a bully. What a hell. I'm your mother. You scared me a lot. She continued to be indignant. Didn't I tell you to go out through the main doors? You don't worry about Mom? My God, you love your unique and beautiful mother. And if something happened, and if you slipped and fell when you ran here to make us... She continued to speak, and at the same time she attached the safety system. Mom, isn't she a woman which my grandmother hired for Dad? The baby thought in surprise. It seems that at night a stranger came to her by mistake, who eventually threw her and fell into trouble. And then she dragged her skills to perfection in order to take revenge. And when everything comes out, she will receive love, a house, and a beautiful man. These thoughts did not leave her. Grandma's choice is really very unique. No, Grandma would not endure such a teapot, thought the baby. On the street from all sides there were already sirens of police cars. Surround the building. Go look at the electricity in the shield. Check the ventilation pipe. Someone gave an order. Damn, the police are already so close. We don't have time, baby. Now you will go down with your mother, she said, and took the baby in her arms. Why are you silent? Too high? Sonny, don't be afraid. She continued to reassure him. Wait. Something wanted to say something. Baby, hug the mom stronger. She added and checked the safety system. Wait. The baby once again tried to say something. Pudding. Hold on, she shouted, grabbing the baby in her arms, hooked on the stretched cable and slipped down it. I can add that the picture turned out to be a very amazing, slender young girl in short shorts and stockings, with a child in her arms, flies on a safety cable between two high-rise buildings. Great respect to the author from me. Flying over the night city of the baby thought thoughts in his head. This is a strange woman. Incredible. Is she really my relative? Nesamagonal. Although I feel pretty good. The baby continued to think. What do you think that happened at that moment, of course? The rope could not stand it, and began to crack. Damn it. It cannot be. Initially, there was no pudding in the plan. Is the rope overloaded? She thought. This girl is clearly not versed in equipment for climbers. She chose a very weak rope. Fucking hell! She cried out when she saw that the rope was torn, and she had not yet descended with the baby. At that moment, she flew between two tall buildings. Given the power of gravity, speed, and impact strength, then the probability of getting an injury is 100%, she thought. The kid grabbed her with both hands with all his might. He hid his face under her jacket. There was such a feeling that time slowed down, and this fall was. The kid continued to think intensively. Suppose a policeman will come here in 2 minutes at a speed of 4 mph, and the probability that this woman after a fall will be able to call me an ambulance is almost zero. The fragile girl grouped, closed the child with her, and at that moment, the sound of broken glass rang out, and fragments poured to the sides. We can say that a miracle happened. What happened? The boy finally opened his eyes and looked in surprise around. The fragments still continued to fall, the silence of the night city. Hey, how are you? The baby got to his feet surprisingly, but there was not a scratch on him. The woman was lying on the floor near the broken window. She coughed a little and tried to restore her breath after such a rapid fall. Everything is in order with Mom. Pudding, my boy, do not worry. My mother will rest a little and everything will be fine. She said, a little restraint. A strong blow could cause damage to the back and spinal cord, possibly even internal organs. You obviously do not feel better if you just rest. You decided to deceive the child? The baby answered confidently. People should take care of themselves and not do such dangerous things without specific equipment. She felt the whine for herself and for how she could kill this child. This child is too smart. She finally paid attention. Mommy is really fine. She tried in every possible way to hide the pain that was all over her body. This woman is so stupid that she should only find out that her child was gone. She will panic. So, I'll stay for her child so far. But this is not because I like her. Continued to think about the child. Let's go, added the baby. He confidently picked her hands. We are going home, he said, and he brought her home with a confident step. At this time, in a luxurious hall with chic chandeliers made of expensive rock crystal, sat at the dining table and ate something. Surprisingly, this is very, very tasty, he said. And I will leave this piece to Mom. She will definitely be glad, added the baby, eating the cake. Since you like it so much, then I will ask the cooks every day to cook it, a strict man said in a calm voice. Mr. G, the security system, including the video surveillance system at the auction, was hacked, the assistant said. Most likely this person is a master of his craft, because a few days ago, everything was in order. He added, simply put, you do not even know what kind of gender this person is, clarified Mr. G. True. I apologize, Mr. G. We no longer have any information. Added an assistant. Pfft. My mother is so incredible that they cannot even find her, thought the baby. I need to come up with a way to get out of here and find Mom, however. There are certain difficulties. Continued to think the baby. His gaze stopped at the mysterious stranger, who was called Mr. G, and in the head of the baby, an incredible plan has ripened. This man is very beautiful and very rich. Why not become a husband for my mother? The baby thought mysteriously. Let me remind you that the baby is only 5 years old, and he builds such serious thoughts. Whether it seems to me a little strange, write your ideas in the comments. After a heavy and intense day, Mr. G went to the shower. This stone northern lights do not leave my thoughts. There was not a single trace of this hacker. He turned on the water, and drops of hot water began to drain across a naked, strong body. What is the connection between this? After all, I got this stone quite by accident. Is it really worth starting an investigation with the history of its appearance? He continued to think. At this time, the baby Ao had already entered his bedroom and studied something with his own tablet. Ow ow, Mr. G called him. This child would not have come to my bedroom on his own initiative, especially since he would not inspect my personal belongings, which is not the case with him today, Mr. G thought in surprise. What good promotions this man does, Mom also needs good money. In the end, there is no money, much money. The kid continued to study the information on shares. Ow, ow. What are you doing? Mr. G asked him in a surprised voice. I help Daddy watch promotions, the baby answered in a timid voice. However, I remember something else, added a man, and took the baby in his arms. Ao, you don't really understand the shares, the man asked in surprise. Recently I suddenly became very interested in this. Yes, because if the child does not understand something, then he needs to learn this. The kid tried to come up with some excuse for his actions. Mr. G looked him directly in his eyes. He tried to understand his thoughts and to figure out what he was thinking about. Well, go to sleep, he answered calmly, and put the baby out the door of his bedroom. It was very close and exciting. A little more and I would have been opened. The baby is all with fear. Everything is bad. I need to return to my mother soon, the baby thought and quickly ran to his bedroom. Xiao Chen, plan a test for paternity for tomorrow. I will also check all the surveillance cameras again, especially focus on the places where there was AO, and several people will be sent there to check, Mr. G ordered. Am I really so tired lately? Even confused his own son? Mr. G closed his eyes and plunged into his thoughts. At this time, his face was a bad look. Puting, baby! In the meantime, watch the TV. The mommy will go prepare a big dinner for you, she answered joyfully. But on her face was the same bad look. Okay. The baby answered calmly and sat down on the sofa, in anticipation of something edible. Why does it seem to me that something is wrong? She thought, looking at her baby. Puting, why do you have other clothes? She asked. Just a wonderful mother, finally noticed. In the hall, a child gave me his clothes. Don't you think it's too late to ask such questions? If I had been replaced, would you not notice either? The child asked. It cannot be like that. Such a cute face is my putting on earth no longer. If it were replaced, I would immediately notice. Mother, and I did not immediately see the change of your clothes just because mothers pay all my attention to their baby. Sit, Gold. Mom will go to cook dinner for you, she answered and ran to the kitchen. The baby had no choice but to sit on the sofa and sigh. On a small coffee table, right in front of the sofa stood a box in which lay a strange gem of large size. The kid continued to sigh. He had no choice but to turn on the old TV. What happened? Baby? Why are you so sigh? Mom asked when she returned from the kitchen with 2 plates of food. It turns out, we are so poor. The baby asked in a sad voice. It was like a stone on her head fell on her, which means this poor... She barely stood on her feet so as not to fall from such unexpected words. Ah ha ha! Sonny, let's eat noodles first. She put the plates on the table and offered to eat. This could be called a liquid soup, a little noodles, a couple of leaves of greens, and 1 egg swam in a plate. And this is yours. A big dinner? Which you promised. The baby was surprised. At that moment, she felt even greater pressure that fell on her. Like 2 huge stones tried to crush her. Today, a large robbery has occurred in the city. A gem called the Northern Lights suddenly disappeared in front of the whole public, reported on TV. Isn't that the same stone called the Northern Lights? The baby was surprised and looked at the mysterious stone that lay next to him on the coffee table. Okay, poverty is acceptable, but theft is already too much, thought the baby. And in his head a picture was drawn that his mother grabbed a stone and is a kidnapper. In addition, this is the first thing that Dad put up for auction. Now it has been stolen, but it is definitely very angry. So, the baby thought confidently, Woman, you are a corpse. In a calm voice. And the baby said with all seriously, you're a bully. Have you really read my comics again? She laughed without betraying their importance to these words. Let's eat, she added. Good boy. Are you really learning to be president? With this profession, you will not have a future. Open your mouth. I'll feed you still. Stop. Wait. The baby began to resist how this woman was trying to give him some green plant. He did not have the strength to resist, and yet he wrote everything that was given to him. His stomach is to more refined and balanced food. and after a few minutes, a strong mutter began in his stomach. "Pudding, are you fine?" she asked in surprise. "You hear strange sounds from the toilet." "Do not stay in the toilet, otherwise it will be hemorrhoids," she added. And the fact that she fed the child with incomprehensible grass did not bother her? What do you think about this comma? Write in the comments. "Woman, you are definitely a corpse." Once again, the baby thought confidently. They lived and was painful in different places. The baby tried in every possible way to get it out of his body. "Pudding, Gold, do you want to eat? Mommy will buy you your most beloved fried chicken, okay?" The girl went to the baby to the shopping and entertainment complex. "After such severe diarrhea, I can't eat fried food. First I need light food." The baby answered calmly. "Here it is." "Haha! Then we will drink a rice decoction," the young hostess realized. "So, this is how my young friend lives? I am so condolences to you," I thought with annoyance. "Apchi!" The second baby sneezed. "Is someone calling me?" he thought. "What? There are so many people." She noticed. "It seems to me that your staff is deceiving people." Visitors were indignant. "Is that Liu Pei?" "Oh yes, and ours works here. They apparently get a difficult client?" "Wait, this is no one else. Bai Xinjun and Kuroshka Shen Xuan?" she thought. "He hires all sorts of loafers here. If only they should earn money." The client continued to be indignant. "The world is really cramped. Just 5 years ago, my mother took Bai Xinjun and her mother Zhao Mei under the wing. But who knew that they would decide to thank the kindness shown to them so much? Zhao Mei seduced my father, and Bai Xinjun ruined my mother. And also," she did not finish the thought. "Sister, did you arrange a man in your room? I brought him specifically for you." She remembered those events. "Forced me to establish a relationship with a man right after my engagement. My reputation. Then I asked for help from my groom, Shen Xuan. I hope for his prudence. And in the end, the vows of the oaths evaporated. How funny." She continued to remember. "Groom? I do not want to be with such a dirty girl," that guy said. Why did this woman sharply become so serious? Is it really her friend? What about the violator of order? The kid drew attention to her and began to sort out the options in his head. "Hey, are you doing well?" he asked. It seems that before something bad happened between them, thought the baby. "Mommy is fine," she answered calmly. "Yeah, I am not the same Tsutsu who had almost nothing 5 years ago," she thought.
"Ah, still put me with an idiot? You cannot believe, but I will sue you. I have not even asked you for a fee for a moral server."
Bai Xinjun continued to be indignant. "Miss Bai, the surveillance cameras shows that I didn't even touch you with my finger. How could I scratch you with my nails? I really hope that you can take responsibility and compensate for the cost of a broken bracelet," the employee said. "Yes, for the first time I hear that after a person broke the bracelet, he requires moral compensation. You should not draw hasty conclusions. I don't know the whole story. Maybe the employee is to blame." "Listen to that, you are like that," the employee said. "And this is an angry woman. Was she really not to attract money?" Other visitors continued to discuss. "Your name is Liu Pei, right? I'm not going to spend time on you. Where is your manager? Will I complain about you?" she screamed. She waved her hand and already wanted to give a slap in the face of this innocent employee. But at that moment someone caught her hand and blocked her blow. What idiot dared to intervene? She was immediately indignant and turned to see who grabbed her hand. "Wow, for 100 years have not seen each other. Your face, Miss Bei, is getting thicker and thicker." Ani held her hand. "Is it really Ann Jiujiu?" She could not believe her eyes. "No, it cannot be. Didn't I crush her to death 5 years ago? How can she be here?" She continued to be surprised at the girls. "Do not be surprised. I just returned to send you to hell, my dear sister." Strictly answered by Ann Jiujiu. "You behave just disgusting," she said and threw her hand to the side. "Jitsi, are you okay? I don't know how I came across them." The seller of the jewelry department said with anxiety in his voice. "Everything is fine. Do not worry. I came to help you." And she answered, "Jutsu, is it really you? It's good that you returned." The same guy who once left her turned to her. "Sorry, a young man. I don't know you," she answered in a strict voice. "Jutsu, this is... He was surprised very much when she refused him. "Shen Xuan, do not forget that you are now my fiancé, not her." The girl jerked his sleeve to switch his attention to herself. Strange. The woman who slept with another man, who was kicked out of the house, kicked out his father. "Who are you to talk here? You're even familiar with this employee. This is definitely a rat of rats and snakes, Miss Bai said. The worker also did wrong. Such a fox only has money in the eyes. Yes, everything is clear that you and this employee conspired to deceive people. Changed? She has such a naive look, but how could she commit such an act? Other visitors continued to be indignant.
You are a real creature! How dare you say this?
The store employee was indignant. At this moment, a heavy wooden box with a damaged jade bracelet flew down, right on the leg of this bad Miss Bai.
Ah! And Miss Bai jumped from the pain in the leg!
How painful, she screamed. Near her there was a baby who decided to intervene in this situation. Pudding, really? Did you leave this box? In surprise asked Ann Jiujiu.
Are you allowing her to insult you? The baby asked with irritation. He could not stand it further.
What a bad child. She was indignant. Miss Bai was outraged by this act, and she already swung his hand to slap this child. But Ann Jiujiu was ahead of her, and knocked on her slap right in front of all visitors. What right do you have to beat or raise your hand on my child? She asked strictly. Ann Jiujiu, what are you doing? Miss Bai was surprised. Well, yes, I'm a widow. The father of the child died in a car accident. She continued to speak. Suddenly, she began to act very softly to protect the child. I am still so alive. Quickly noticed the child. The world is too cruel. Does an orphan and widow deserve such from transactions? She was indignant, and tears appeared before her eyes. Are you crying? Isn't it you hit me now? Miss Bai was indignant. What is happening here? Other visitors could not understand where they got, and what was happening in this store.
Weak, poor, helpless. He plays claws and shows fangs very fiercely. Miss Bai continued to be indignant.
Hey, stop it right now! One of the visitors was indignant. How angry you are! How can you say such a child and his mother, who had no failures in the family yet? Yes, you have no conscience at all. I have not seen such unscrupulous people like you. Call the police. Visitors were indignant. Bai Shinjun, when you first tried to humiliate me with the help of public opinion, did you think that it could all turn against you? I thought, Ann Jiujiu, be a person, not a digging of another hole. Otherwise you'll get into it yourself, she added. That's right, you are a loser, added the baby. Enough, she screamed. Bracelet costs only 200,000 yuan, right? I will pay this amount. But then you must pay. Your son dropped the bracelet right in front of everyone, so do not even think to blame all the blame on me. Of course, my son dropped him. I will definitely pay. Unlike some, I added Ann Jiujiu. How much is from her? Miss Bai was indignant. 3 millions, the seller answered. What? How many? Ann Jiujiu did not expect to hear such a large figure. 3 million. Miss, how do you want to pay? We accept any kind of payment. Rather run, her friend tried to whisper her. Ah, yes. Of course. Only 3 million, baby. Is it time for us to run from here? She thought. Just 3 million. Here, take it. And the kid handed her his credit card. My God, this is a limited black card. The saleswomen in the store were surprised. How? How is it possible? Miss Bai was surprised. She was kicked out 5 years ago from the Bai family absolutely without money. Where did she get so much? Don't even try. You won't guess anyway. The baby answered calmly. In the end, you look like a brainless woman who only knows how to get into and deceive other people. As a result, you will be bent in bad glory, and you will wander through the streets alone, he added. This baby has a sharp tongue. I thought Ann Jiujiu when she heard her baby put in place Miss Bai. Now is not the time to think about it. Where does this black card come from? For a moment I thought Ann Jiujiu. Really, she finally understood. Who am I? The baby thought. Kid, tell me honestly, did you steal this card? She asked quietly. This woman is so slow, the baby thought. Nevertheless, it seems to me that the father had to notice it, thought the baby. At this time, in a huge house, the worker got on the stepladder to reach and look out the window. President Ji, it seems to me, your son will not appear. He continued to look out the window. I've been standing here for 6 hours and watching. I feel like a stalker. In fact, he followed the bed on which the tablet lay. Is it easier for me to use video surveillance cameras? No, Mr. Ji answered. He will definitely appear. He also continued to watch him. He settled in front of a large monitor. The tablet on the bed was as a bait. He will definitely appear, added Mr. Ji. And here he is. He really came, Mr. G said. The kid looked into the room and did not see any of the adults. Ha ha. There is no one at home. It's time to start, said the little Skrishits. Money, and here I am. He was delighted and ran to the tablet. So, the bank account, the number of my mother's card. Something continued to do the baby on the tablet. Ready. The operation was completed successfully. Ha ha ha. And now I should... The baby did not finish his phrase. We act. Right now. Mr. G quickly disposed of. What? What is happening here? He was surprised. At that moment, several guards ran into the bedroom and surrounded the baby. Have you really sold my shares for 5 billion? And you are a smart baby, noted Mr. G. So, now we'll see. Recipient, Ann Jiujiu, right? We will call her to visit us. The kid understood that he stiffly screwed up. Have you picked up this card at the auction? She was surprised. In the evening at home, she offered to talk with her child. People at that auction are very rich and noble. If they find me and ask me to return the money, then I will not be able to do this, even if I break the boiler and sell the fragments of the metal, she said. At this moment, the baby read the pudding comic. Mr. President, you are spoiled. If so, then we will become a villain, she said, and began to do something on her laptop. It seems to me that you are questioning the law. In our country, during the hacking data they put in jail, thought the baby. Hello? Hello? Let me know. A phone call was heard and she picked up the phone. Jutsu! Is it true you? It's me, your dad. You were silent for 5 years and did not answer. I was very worried. Meet. This is her father. Bai Union. And this woman, as I understand it, this stepmother is Zhao Mei. When the mother was not brought to suicide, nothing was bothering you when they almost brought me. You didn't bother anything either. And now you are running with care? Surprised by Ann Jiujiu. Can a bastard have a conscience in 5 years? She continued to think. Really? She answered calmly. Of course not. Conscience will not appear in 5 years. Yes. Come home tomorrow. Just on the birthday of Aunt May, we arrange a banquet. I am a man and not very well versed in what a woman can like. Will you help you choose a gift? Certainly. In this case, I will also prepare a gift to her. It sounds somehow very strange, after a 5-year pause in communication, so to call for a meeting. What do you think about this? Write in the comments. Well, what? She agreed? The old woman asked. Of course. She still considers me her father. She should open my mouth. She is already running, the man answered rudely. Shin Jun said that she has a highest level card, so she should be honored with money. This vile woman clearly conceived something. Calm down tomorrow in any case. She will give us her money, even if she is kidnapped. Added by a man. Some of the invited people were already sitting in a restaurant at the ordered table. The table was already served. But then she appeared in the restaurant hall. Wow, who is this? So beautiful. And this boy is her son? What, cutie? Continued to discuss other guests. Oh, sister, you still came. What gift did you cook for Mom? The same girl whose scandal in the store asked. It is strange. Until I understand how much money you have. You will stay still lower than mine, she thought. I need a sister here. I will turn it off from this. And as for the gift, do not worry, you will see it myself, she added. Welcome to the celebration on the occasion of my wife Zhao Mei wife. First of all, I would like to express great gratitude to all those present. Her father began the performance. Jutsu, can we talk? A young guy turned to her. I thought about you all this time, even if you are no longer a virgin and you have a child. I will not despise you. Jutsu, come back to me, said a guy named Shen Swan. Return to you. But what about your bride, Shin Jun? She asked. How stupid I was before. How could I pay attention to such a bastard? She was an accidental advent now. When I touch her body, I seem to touch my body. I do not feel anything. I will buy you a separate house in another part of the city so that you do not see each other, the guy said. All this sounds very strange. There are too many absurdities. I don't even know where to start, she thought.
How dare you take my woman from me? Do you really want death? Strictly asked the baby.
What the hell? Really, a child scared me, thought this guy. The tougher fucking yes, like this. At that moment, the sounds of the speakers were heard in the hall. Why is this porn video broadcast to the whole hall? And why this girl looks so familiar? Visitors to the restaurant were surprised. The youth is now completely different. Gods, Yes, this is Bai Xinjun and Zhao Mei, a guest noticed.
Turn off. Turn it off right now.
Dear, calm down, listen to me, the old stepmother screamed indignantly. Who would have thought that mother and daughter? The master looks so miserable. Phew, they say, he threw his first wife to take this mistress into his wives. So he needs. These gossip are clearly not for children's ears, discussed other guests. So these virgins like Mr. Shenya, it seems to me that he will help you calm down. Do not want to try this piece of cake, the Ann Jiujiu suggested.
Bai Xinjun,
he shouted his teeth. For reference, I can add that in China it is said that when a guy puts a green hat, this means that his girlfriend is cheating on him.
No, I'm not. Shen Swan, you have to believe me.
She tried to make excuses.
It's you. This is your hand. Anijitsu. I will kill you.
The girl continued to be indignant. She had already swung her hand and wanted to hit her. As at that moment, Ann Jiujiu grabbed her hand. Are you going to kill me? Bai Xinjun, I did not die 5 years ago, and this time I won't die, proudly answered Ann Jiujiu. From now on, it is you who worthy of my slap. And Ann Jiujiu chopped her lean without no regret. Ann Jiujiu, you are heartless. When you went with your stomach and did not know who the father of the child, the father wanted to kill you, but I asked him to spare you. Today, you not only destroyed me and my daughter, but also took this alien seed with you. The old stepmother continued to be indignant. You said that my son is someone else's seed? Tired of living or what? She asked strictly a high gentleman. My son is someone else's seed? Are you tired of living? Mr. Ji asked strictly once again. Wow, what a handsome. I immediately thought a young whore. I'm tired of living, continued to repeat the old stepmother. Is the son of Mr. Ji here? The guest continued to be surprised. Baby, why don't you go out? He asked strictly. Dad? The baby looked out from behind.
A hotel, what are you saying? Your dad knocked down a car, his head was torn to pieces. How he could be alive?
An indignant Ann Jiujiu was indignant. Yes, these two guys looked at her and understood that it was a woman without reliable. Either she is so dumb, or she still did not understand the seriousness of the situation.
Fu! Your father also has a father? I personally remember how you were kicked out of the house with a big belly. Then you could not say who the father of the child. And now you want to denigrate Mr. Ji? She continued to be indignant.
Immediately she thought that Shen Swan compared to this handsome man. Just a non-insignificant, I must marry him. True. Mr. Ji, do not give this evil woman and Xiu Tzu powder your brains. We are very happy about your visit. It probably was worth saying the first. Added by the old man. That the father, that the daughter has the level of IQ like he is mollusca. The dad is furious, soon he will really bury someone. Thought the baby. This, someone else's seed? And you call her an evil woman? You did not know, she is my girlfriend, Mr. Ji sternly answered. This is much more interesting than the video is rich and randomly. What, damn, is happening here? Is Mr. Ji patronizing her? It's not for nothing that we came here. The guests continued to discuss. What is wrong with Mr. Ji Jinchen? We have never even seen him, but he called me his girlfriend? Thought Ann Jiujiu. However, this can be used to annoy relatives, she thought. Beloved, they mocked me and our son. You must do something about it. She immediately realized. Damn, it would be embarrassed if he rejects me now. I will take note of this. I need to bite a couple of fools. Mr. Ji decided to support her and played along with her. Mr. Ji. The old man wanted to say something, but a lump in his throat prevented him from saying, and even a word. Take away the guests, close the doors, and beat these dogs. He ordered his guard. Yes, Mr. Ji, will be done. They confirmed. And after a moment, screams began to be heard from behind a closed door. Do not beat. It hurts. We were wrong. Wait, Ji Jinchen, where are you leaving my son? Was the Ann Jiujiu?
Mom! Pudding is here!
The baby with tears in his eyes continued to scream from a closed car. Really, my son was cloned. A Su was surprised when I saw another child in a car.
Stupid mother. I am your son. Pudding calls a frying pan. A frying pan.
So apparently they turned to each other. Very funny. This is a secret password that only we knew with Pudding. Surprised by Ann Jiujiu. Pudding mom is here. Mom. The baby was delighted, and she took him in her arms and pressed him to her. It is so touching and cute. Mother and son hugs each other tightly. Mr. Ji and Ao stood nearby and watched this picture. At this time, my father and son just stood nearby. I refused to hug. And so normal, my father thought. This is how different the upbringing of Dad and the upbringing of Mom. What happened? We took the wrong sons? I was surprised to ask Ann Jiujiu. This is my paternity test with pudding, Mr. Ji said, and handed her an envelope with documents. Correspondence 99.9%. Paternity is established. Here even without options. She was surprised. No. For a moment she plunged into her memories and remembered the bed scene from the past. Come here. He gently pulled her legs and pressed her to him. Blood pulsed all over her body. They were both very excited. You can't leave, he said in a quiet voice. She remembered the young guy who was with her that night. Miss Ann, is you all right? Asked Mr. Ji. Is it really that man 5 years ago? Ji Jinchen? But did Bai Sinsun say that it was an old man? Why was it Ji Jinchen? She thought in surprise. Ji Jinchen did not even know about my existence, so what happened 5 years ago? I clearly remember that only one child gave birth. Where did the second come from? She continued to think. It seems to me, or history, it becomes more interesting. Write in the comments as you like such a turn of events. Mommy, are you all right? You scare the pudding a little, the baby said affectionately. Hey, miss, you are not good? Asked the second baby. Thank you, I'm fine, she answered affectionately, and stroked both kids on the head. It seems that now you have become a little better, Miss Ann. Therefore, please name your price. How much do you want pudding to stay in my house? Mr. Ji calmly said. Mr. Ji, what? Do you want to buy my son? She asked in surprise and survived the child tightly. I will not sell it, no matter how much you pay me, she answered strictly. In the past, I had to suffer and endure only in order to ensure that the child in my stomach could safely be born. In other words, pudding is my world. I will not let my son take, no matter what. You do not want to know the truth about what happened that day 5 years ago, Mr. Ji asked. Honestly, that day I was pumped with drugs. One of the effects of that dope was mania, so I did not even know who this woman was in my room. After a while, the butler brought me a child, ow. Mr. Ji continued to tell. The butler said to sign a birth certificate, because his mother, unfortunately, died. However, after I met you in the pudding, I continued the investigation to certainly find out what happened that year. And I will never allow my son to live in poverty. Mr. Ji said, I really want to know what happened 5 years ago, but if the price of all this is my pudding, then I will prefer ignorance, said Ann Jiujiu. Miss Ann, I will let you know that I can get everything I want, regardless of the method, do you understand? Mr. Ji asked. As I understand it, this Mr. Ji was a rather large and influential bump. Cattle. If you laugh at least once to offend my mother, then I will break your house and sell all the shares. Did you understand this? Pudding shouted at him. At this moment, Mr. Ji thought a little. If I still say a word, I can't take it with me at all. What about me? The second baby asked. And the little children's pen reached out and took her by a gentle dress to attract her attention. You don't want to be with me? Mom, the baby said plaintively. I will be a spinning and in no case will bother you. With tears in my eyes, the baby added, if you do not want to leave this younger brother alone, can we live together? With tears in his eyes, the baby asked, who can stand in front of such angelic eyes? His gaze is really very sweet. Live together? A good idea. But how can I make her agree to this? Mr. Ji thought. You are Ao. Yes? You see, you need a mommy, she said. And the phrase broke. Ann Jiujiu thought, he should have the best life with Mr. Ji than with me. Since my finances are limited, I will not be able to take care of him, and the baby will only suffer living with me. Mommy, do not be sad. Now you have $5 billion, so you can take care of us without problems, Pudding added joyfully. 5 billion? What are you talking about? A Jiujiu was surprised. Miss Ann, I completely forgot to say this. This amount that I spent on pudding. And Mr. Jiu turned previously prepared notes. Not only did he sell my shares for $5 billion, which cost me extremely expensive, in total. This is not so much, but you owed me a little more than 7 billion, Mr. Ji said. As soon as she heard such a large sum, she felt as if she had died on the spot. But this is not a problem if my son is pudding. If Miss Annie agrees to live in my house with AOL, then I may not pay attention to this duty. Mr. Ji said, twisting the list with costs. Really? This is true? She was delighted. Of course this is true, Mr. Ji said calmly. And then a bunch of questions fell. An account for a communal apartment? Everything is free. What about food every day? I will pay. And the children? Children will be on you, Mr. Ji answered quickly. Pudding, ow, let's get bored and buy something tasty, she suggested joyfully. Oh, stupid aunt. No, now I have to call her mom. Oh, stupid mom. This is all part of my father's strategy, ow thought. But on the other hand, everything suits me, he thought joyfully. After some time, they went into a luxurious house with high ceilings and bright crystal chandeliers. Wow. So this is the house of the richest person in the city. She was surprised. It's just excellent. I was delighted by Annie Ji and said it specially a little wrong. Miss Ann. Hello. The staff greeted. Miss Ann, I'm a butler in this house. I will spend you to your room. Well, please follow me. Wah, how soft. Annie Ji, along with Pudding, flopped on a wide, luxurious bed. They seemed to drown in it.
Ow, jump to us!
She cheerfully called Ow, who had just entered the room. I do not want, he answered timidly. Come here and stop imitating your soulless father, Annie Jiujiu said cheerfully and grabbed the baby in her arms. Children, you must laugh and rejoice, she added. Ha. Don't even try to escape, a little prankster. The older brother Pudding goes to the rescue. Stop. Ha. I tickle. They continued to fool around. Mr. Ji watched all this time from the side. He saw very well that they get along well, as if they were created for each other. Daddy, don't you want to join us? Pudding grabbed his hand and also led to the bed to blow together. Let's sleep with Mom, joyfully, Pudding said with childish naivety. Sleep together? What are these children talking about? I was surprised by Annie Jiujiu. Yes, madame, the young gentleman coped. He managed to bring the twins and that woman. The butler answered in a calm voice on the phone. The next morning, she woke up with children in her bedroom. Strange, I'm so tired, and my whole body hurts. Without raising my head from the bed, she thought. At that moment, she decided to remember what happened last night. Mommy, can my dad sleep with us today? Pudding asked. Hey? To sleep with us, this is impossible, she answered. Dad, Mom said that this was impossible, Pudding said joyfully. Mr. Ji, when he hears the word impossible, perceives it as a special challenge. Yes, you can't. Hey, you, stop. But why do you two understand everything in different ways? She was surprised. And so, let's see. Whoever is here and we cannot fall asleep, Mr. Ji said. Wait, I didn't mean that. I looked in surprise, Annie Jiujiu. Mr. Ji approached the bed, and they began a fierce battle with pillows. The children rejoiced and squealed with pleasure. Former mommy. Good luck, screamed. Then I fought with him pillows until midnight. And now I don't even know where the hell is he now. She plunged into memories. But now I do not care about him, because there is nothing more important than a healthy sleep. She lay down on a softly luxurious bedding and plunged into sleep. What is it? Her hand felt for something smooth and firm. She rolled over to the other side and was pleasantly surprised. After she turned to the other side, she opened her eyes and was surprised. Who was this? She thought. Shh, do not scream. The children are still sleeping, he said quietly, and gently covered her mouth with his hand so that she would not make extraneous sounds. So who is it? But why didn't he go to his room? She was surprised. When she felt his strong body so close, she absolutely did not want him to leave. His strict black shirt was unbuttoned. She stroked his hand with his firm cubes of the press, which were all over the stomach, and descended below the trousers. This is extremely stunning. My desire to touch everything grows pretty quickly, she thought. He gently took her hands and extended a little up. Miss Ann, what are you doing here? He asked gently. At that moment, the door to the room opened and the butler entered. Young master, your father and mother came, he suddenly said. Butler, this is not at all what it seems to you. Miss Annie began to be indignant. Lord have mercy, I didn't see anything. The butler became incredibly ashamed, and he immediately ran out of the room. What is it with him? After all, there was nothing. Miss Annie was surprised, watching the butler run out of the bedroom. Go ahead, Dad. Don't stop. Don't get to his side. The children who came to the noise of their parents joyfully shouted. About what? Damn it, so dirty, do you think? Why are you laughing? Stop laughing and getting off me already. Ann Jiujiu continued to be indignant. Well, just for so long I have not seen how the butler is embarrassed and runs away, Mr. Ji said cheerfully. Graduate, and he held out her hand to her to get up. She took up his hand and tried to get up, continuing to grumble and indignant. At that moment, she accidentally stepped on a children's toy. The toy made a terrible creak. Here is the surprise. In this creak, she slipped and almost fell. In the last moment, Mr. Ji saved her from the fall, who managed to catch her, and actually catch her in flight. Oh, you are again. I pressed me. But still they fell on the bed. Wait, this scene seems to me familiar. She thought for a split second. At that moment, the door to the bedroom opens. And guess who comes in exactly? His mother and dad come in. And now they have been caught in such a pose for the second time. A little later, they went down to the living room and sat on luxurious sofas opposite each other. Two children began to play cubes. How nice. They haven't been saying anything for 10 minutes. It drives me into paint. Ann Jiujiu experienced great awkwardness because of this situation. A little of coughing, Ji Jinchen's father violated this silence. Jesna Chen told us that he had found you with his son, so we... His father did not finish the phrase. Enough to walk around the bands. I do not agree to accept her as a daughter-in-law of the Ji family. The mother of Ji Jinchen continued to be indignant. Huh? What are you talking about? And Jiujiu was surprised. Even if you give birth to 2 sons, I will only accept pudding, but not you. And such a base person like you still want to be part of the Jin family? His mother continued to say, It seems that she revised the Chinese melodramas. Isn't it? I thought Ann Jiujiu. And what, if I still want to marry her? Mr. Ji intervened in the conversation. Hey man, slam already. Unexpectedly, Ann Jiujiu thought, please notice it, she only thought it, said nothing. Among the relatives, a verbal skirmish began. In no case, we will accept the child, but certainly not her. I do not agree with you. Do you still refuse? Remember that you are still my son, and the woman that I found 5 years ago was definitely not to her, but she is my son's mother. You are such a fool that you say it has no way for you relationship. Stop already. Ann Jiujiu intervened in their discussion. I have a couple of my conditions. Firstly, I do not want to marry Jinchen, and what happened earlier was only a misunderstanding, and I do not care if you believe me or not. Secondly, I will not allow me to take pudding from me. But if you even try to do this at least once, then I will not stand aside and look, said Ann Jiujiu. Thirdly, and she was prevented from finishing the phrase. But you said about 2 conditions, isn't it? Chen's mother was surprised. Thirdly, you said 5 years ago, which means that you know what happened then? Now tell me about it. She asked strictly. Yes, indeed. It is also interesting for me and all my viewers to know what happened then 5 years ago. Better tell me everything in a good way, and in the smallest details, about what happened 5 years ago, she said sternly. Chen's mother did not want to plunge into these memories, since she was very embarrassed, but still she had no choice. This happened because there were no women surrounded by Chen. My father and I were afraid that he liked the men. Therefore, we decided to find a woman for him. So that everything went properly, we added a little drug to his wine. But we did not expect the waiter to mix the rooms and send him together. After that, we tried our best to find you. Until they found you on the terrible day when this car accident occurred. Chen's mother suggested telling. Our concierge, Uncle Wu, was there, and took the child. And then I unfortunately do not know what happened. You can ask him about this yourself, and she called the concierge into the room. When I arrived at the place, I saw only one child. And at that time, Miss Anne, it seemed that there were no signs of life. I could not even think that Miss Anne still could be in the stomach one child. The concierge began to apologize. There were no signs of life? And for this reason, you decided not to call an ambulance for me? I apologize. This is my puncture. At that moment, I was in such a state that I could not quickly think. The concierge apologized. Strange, okay? But now we know what happened 5 years ago. And why didn't you ask them before? Was waiting for today and this moment. And what is Mr. Jin further going to do? She asked. I thought that Miss Annie suddenly appeared with pudding because she wanted money or something else, but now I understand that she was also a victim of circumstances. Mr. Ji thought. At that moment, he remembered how he told her. Please name your price. How much do you want this child to stay in my house? How could I do so that I could do so? And it was wrong to understand her, Mr. Ji thought. How about compensation in the form of a check for a large amount of money from Miss Anne? Father intervened in the conversation. I can solve everything with the help of money. I compensate for the damage of Miss Ann in my own way. And recently the weather has become better, so why don't you and your mother go and relax somewhere? Uncle Wu, put them out the door, Mr. Ji ordered. Do you want to drive me out of this house? My father was immediately indignant. Dear Quieter, we are visiting, he reassured his mother. Mr. Lady, please ask for a way out. The concierge turned politely. The whole company is in the hands of your son, and you are only nominally there. Therefore, if we lift the commotion, we will only disgrace. Besides, isn't Ao Ao there? And there is also a bride of Chen. Our son will indulge and obey her in everything, she said the mother. Okay, we are leaving. And the father turned to the exit to leave this house as soon as possible. Well, the youth has gone now. Mr. Ji, in what way do you want to give me compensation? In fact, I am not greedy and I don't need much. The debt will also come down, said Ann Jiujiu. This is impossible. Mr. Ji immediately turned to her. What I was talking about earlier. You can calmly think about it now, he added, looking her in wide open eyes. Why was he so close? She was surprised, and in surprise she continued to clap her wide eyes. What are you talking about? What is it? She continued to ask. But Mr. Ji did not answer. He just turned around and left the room. Brother, what do you think? In which case it is better to hold a wedding, Chinese or Western? I think that we will soon have a sister. What's to talk about a wedding? It's strange. It makes sense. I continued to discuss the children. And now we'll transfer to the house of her consolidated sister. What? Gap of the engagement? This is not heard. She was indignant. Do you want to return to Anijutsu? Do you still think about this bitch? She continued to be indignant. If you think so, then I can't do anything about it. But I think that our marriage has not continued for a long time, so we should break our relations here and now. Shen Xuan answered. Shen Xuan, the Bai family is very good at you. Could you take into account my daughter Akama and forgive her this time? An old woman was interfering in the conversation. What? Forgive this time? He was surprised. You yourself know how unstable it is. She has an engagement with me, but she still leaves every night and sleeps with other men. Did you really think that I was just some kind of garbage? Shang Xuan shouted in response. That is, do you consider yourself white and fluffy? This is because your little thing could never work correctly. Since you are an impotent, I went to other peasants. The vile bitch began to make excuses. Shen Xuan could not stand such accusations and gave her a slap in the face, as it was already too much. This marriage is over, he said contempt, and he hastened to leave the room, slamming the door behind him. If it were not for this, Anutsi, then those videos would not have become the public. This vile bitch began to whine. Does she really think that it will be forever under the protection of Mr. Ji? I do not believe that he can live calmly after the sexual scenes he saw. She offered to be indignant. And Xiu, that you were looking on the network, earnestly rubbing the keyboard of a computer. I knew that Bai Yun could not manage my mother's company, but I did not expect him to get her down. If I had not hacked the system of the company, I would not be able to see this data. But he is, among other things, and falsify business documents. Bai Yun, I will destroy you. Mom, wait a little more. I will return everything that belongs to you. I thought Ann Jiujiu. Arrakis arrived. Fufu reports on the state of goal number 1, reception. The children changed clothes in young detectives and played in the house. Purpose number 1. To penetrate other people's computers is wrong, because this is a violation of the law, AOL thought. Now the number 1 is about to violate the law, the reception. Arrakis reports on the state of goal number 2, the reception. The children continued to play. At this time, at the other end of the house, in the office. The baby looked at his father's table. He works, reception. He answered by the walkie-talkie, while maintaining a very serious look. I hear everything. I can't believe that the children can make noise, so... Mr. Ji was indignant. Reception, reception. Arrakis was discovered the target number 2. I am urgently retreating. The baby began to scream by the walkie-talkie and ran out of the room. Mr. Wu, please miss me. Madame Yao, Mr. said not to let anyone in, the concierge answered. Listen, I brought it for Mr. Chen. If everything cools down, it will become tasteless. The vile bitch continued to speak. At that moment, the clatter of children's legs was heard nearby. Small heels knocked on a perfectly flat flooring. Aye, the baby who ran out of the office, so accelerated along the corridor that he did not notice the stranger and crashed into her. Ow, ow. Is it you? Why are you running so fast? It could be dangerous, she answered. Emergency situation. Reception. Here's a strange and dangerous animal. Reception. The baby continued to report by the walkie-talkie. A strange and dangerous animal. She was surprised. I can add for myself that this is indeed so. Ow, ow. I'm your aunt. What did you forget me? She tried to portray a good face, but she did it very badly. And the monster, the baby shouted, almost losing consciousness. Hey, Pudding, come to me, his second baby called in a calm voice. What the hell is it? This is Ao. So, nevertheless, parents told Mr. G the truth, and he has twins, she thought. And this means that that woman also lives in this house. I really want to know who she is, she thought. Lady Ann, you cannot come. Oh, the gentleman where you are. The concierge was indignant. Pudding, we will not be able to continue our game. We have very important and urgent business. I understand, brother, but who is this? Pudding asked. Your mother told me to come here to see you. She lied. She is a bride chosen by a grandfather for Dad. Reply Ao. Bride. But what about our mother? Pudding was surprised. It's all right. Dad does not give a damn about her. This woman constantly makes mistakes and stupid, so how can our dad like it? He really hates people like her. Calmly said Ao. There were solid steps, descending along the steps of a large, luxurious hall. I clearly said that no one would come in. So why is she here? Mr. G sternly asked. But I could not stop Lady Ann, the concierge apologized. Mr. G, do not scold Mr. Wu. This is all in my perseverance, she said. Better take a look. I brought your beloved tea from the seeds of the lotus. Only I can be the bride of Mr. G. So who did Ida's bitch imagine myself? You just look at this two-faced rubbish. He looked at her with neglect and thought how to quickly drive her out of the house. Mr. Chen, take a look. I brought your favorite tea in this thermos, she said. Just give it to Uncle Wu. Mr. G calmly answered and went about your business. But where are you? She was surprised. She looked at him while he climbed the spiral staircase to the top floor. And really, as soon as he begins to engage in something interesting, then he does not care about everything else, and he does not pay attention to others. The stupid thought. No. He just does not want to see you, said the concierge. Let me go to the kitchen alone. I want to do it to him and cook something. Lady Ann, wait. The door to the kitchen from the other side. Please do not create additional problems for me, Uncle Wu said. Strange, so you want to drive me away so that I do not see the face of this fox? She thought mysteriously. And Xiu all this time worked at the computer. Wow. Finally I finished. And she pulled her hands a little to make her back. Already almost a time of dinner. I was a little hungry. Her stomach muttered a little from hunger. She thought, strange. Why is it so quiet here? Where did the children go? The guys do not make noise, because usually they behave like two devils. What is it? She went down the stairs and saw a set table with delicious dishes. Wow, today is some kind of holiday? Why are there so many delicacies here? She was delighted. At that moment, another girl entered the room, and they began to study each other with a look as they saw each other for the first time. And you probably... She wanted to ask the new girlfriend. Maybe she's some kind of housekeeper. Mommy? Called her baby. What did you play so much that you sweated so much? She asked. Strangely, I thought that this fox would be prettier, but it is obvious that I was better than her. The cunning muzzle continued to observe. This cunning muzzle, the secret mocked me, while the dad was not in her field of view, immediately remembered Ao. Ow, dear. Why are you silent? Did I play a detective with pudding well? I asked Ann Jiujiu. And since my mommy is a stupid, I will never allow this cunning face to hurt her, thought Ao. Well, hello. So you are the woman that Mr. G brought. I will warn in advance, Mr. G is mine, the cunning muzzle said. Are you a new chef? In surprise asked Ann Jiujiu. What is my chef? The cunning muzzle was indignant. Oh yes, the taste of the dishes is in order, but some are better to fry longer, and children need rather soft food, right? Their teeth are not as hard as in adults, said Ann Jiujiu. Ow, where is your brother? Go and call him. Let's go together. He probably still on the street. We can go after him. Ao took her hand and wanted to get it out of the room. I hid the pudding well. If I do not call him, then he will not come out. Now I'll just leave with my mother and wait until my dad appears. I planned Ao. Let's go and look for pudding, she said. You treat me as a servant, you also say, and eat what I have prepared specifically for Mr. Ji. The cunning muzzle continued to get angry. What did you say? Asked Ann Jiujiu with this girl. I said that I'm the mistress, the cunning muzzle shouted, and she poured a hot dish from the pan on her. Damn it! Boiling water can get to ow. I quickly thought Ann Jiujiu, and instantly closed the baby with her back, taking all the pain on herself. A hot liquid dish spread on the back, burning its skin. Mommy! Shouted the baby from fear. The impudent girl dropped the arrangement of an empty pot on the floor. The roar from her fall shattered, echoing through an empty room. Mr. Ji Chen, you're here? She was very surprised when she saw him nearby. What are you doing here? Mr. Ji sternly asked, who heard the cries of his child and the roar from the fall of a metal pan. Mr. Ji, I'm sorry, this is not what you think. The impudent girl tried to make excuses. I apologize. I accidentally... She continued. What the fuck? She accidentally swung 5-liter pots of boiling water and splashed out on Ann Jiujiu? What do you think about this? Write in the comments. How are you? How is your well-being? He asked, helping to get up by Ann Jiujiu. I am fine. Fortunately, boiling water did not hit the baby. She also said that the mistress is here. What's the matter? Remind me, who is it? Trying to get to her feet, asked Ann Jiujiu. Her name is Ann Yao. She is the daughter of Ingenia from the AN group of companies. She has business relations with our family. Parents wanted to make her my wife, but I flatly refused. Mr. Ji answered. That's how. It turns out she proclaimed herself by the hostess in this house. So then, I can also call myself a mistress. Then can I pour soup on you? Asked Ann Jiujiu. No, it will be too simple for you. You not only wanted to kill me, but also caused the pain to our baby, added Ann Jiujiu. I wish you to throw you into the boiler and cook over low heat. What do you think? A good idea. With a smile, asked Ann Jiujiu. This woman just looks stupid. And why did she become so terrible in only one instant? The cunning muzzle was surprised. Interestingly, can I just use Mr. Ji to pretend to be offended and humiliated? She thought. Even if Mr. Ji does not love me, then with the help of his father he does not dare to do anything with me. Even the tiger will not dare to move, not to mention you, a flirty megger. And what will you do to me? Ha 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 ha, nothing, she thought.
I just slipped a little, but I did not expect that everything would turn around that way. In addition, I really love the baby. Why should I humiliate and beat him? She began to apologize.
Stop already pretending. Not only did you pinch my hand by the hand and called the bastard, but you still want to mock me and my mother. Joao intervened. I know that you are the bride that the grandfather chose for Dad, but you cannot fall in love with Daddy into yourself, and you will disgrace my house with your presence. And I'm not afraid of you. Strictly expressed Ao. This... Probably because my heels are too tall and the floor is slippery. Mr. Ji, you believe me. And she tried to portray a sweet face. Ann Yao, seeing your behavior now, I realize that you are unscrupulous. How blind I was, said Mr. Ji. For the sake of Uncle, now I will give you a chance to leave on your own. Next time, I will not be so polite, Mr. Ji shouted. Now get out of my house, he said in a strict voice. Wow, she is surprisingly very fast. A Jiujiu was surprised when she watched how a cunning muzzle ran away. Mommy, let me look at your back, Ao said with care. Everything is in order, Ao. Your mommy is normal? She tried to answer with a smile on her face. Aye. She felt the pain and shouted loudly. Dad, go urgently for the medicine for burns, cried the baby. Miss Ann, I brought a healing ointment. So that the ointment is better from the ointment, please leave it on your back for some time, and do not put on your clothes until it is completely absorbed. The maid said. Okay, I understood, thank you. Ann Jiujiu thanked her. She was lying in bed and her back was all in burns. Mommy, it hurts you. Pudding will help you, said the baby. Everything is in order with my mother, she reassured. Ao, why are you worth so far? Come to me rather, she called the second baby. The one who could not protect you. The baby felt his guilt. Ah, well done. Today you defended our dear Pudding very well today. This bloodthirsty person. She thanked. The order in our family is such. You are responsible for the protection of your brother, and I am responsible for protecting both of you, she said. Then, who will protect Mom? Pudding was surprised. This will be... Miss An... You can give me a second chance. Mr. Ji entered the room. Are you really in the room too? Was Ensu surprised when I saw Mr. Ji nearby? Yes. From that moment I will protect you, he said in a confident voice. He does not know how to love, so why does he treat me so gently? And to whom I owe all this? Having come to you, you say that you will defend me, she thought. Wait. This case with An Yao reminded me that no matter how comfortable life in Mr. Ji's house was, you still have to rely on others. Mr. Ji is always and in everything in the first place. It is very annoying his competitors. 700 million seems to be an astronomical figure, but the point is not that I cannot afford to return them. When I pay, he will have no reason to keep me near him. However, since we are talking about repaying debt, it is better that wool from the sheep leaves faster. As I understand it, this is how a popular Chinese proverb sounds. Ji Jinchen, come here. She politely called him to her. Even the little pudding realized that my mother's smile is not quite ordinary. What is the matter? The burn still hurts? Mr. Chi asked. Pudding realized that it was most likely mother, in law with seduction. You just said you want to protect me. Is that true? She clarified. I never deceive. If I said that I want to protect you, I will never violate my promise. Mr. Chi calmly answered, It's time for us to go, brother. The next plot is not what children can look at. Good, the kids realized. Thank you. By the way, I have one request that you can fully fulfill. You must have contact information from the An Yao. Now I have previously, and I can't work, but I need to raise children. She continued to speak. Can you contact her on my behalf and ask for compensation? She asked Mr. Chi. That with the character of Mr. Ji, he would never have called An Yao, but to do it at my request is a completely different matter. I thought Ann Jiujiu. I will just contact her. I do not want to have anything in common with her anymore. But as for compensation, Mr. Ji did not finish his phrase. You received a burn, and I have the reason why I must pay this compensation. He finished the phrase. This is exactly what I was waiting for. Ann Jiujiu was delighted. God, is it true? And then let him gradually go crazy from my tricks, she thought. Mr. Ji, you are so kind to me, she said joyfully. It's okay, Mr. Ji calmly answered. And in her words he did not see any hidden subtext. It seemed to him quite natural. In this case I will count. She did not finish her phrase because she got out of bed, took a step forward. At that moment she decided to take advantage of her acting. I do not believe that who is some man will not be able to resist this trick. She took another step forward and accidentally stepped on the edge of the bedspread, which was closed by her body. Ah! She screamed. What happened? Mr. Ji was surprised. At that moment, by inertia, she began to fall directly on him. Sorry, my legs are a little numb. Are you all right? She asked. Okay, he answered. But then let me rise a little. Continuing what we talked about earlier, this is considered compensation. She continued to speak. You have given me a medicine for burns, but the wound on my body is still hurting, and my heart breaks with sadness. And according to Mr. Ji, they will be able to atone for $10 million, and this will be enough, she said. I understood, Mr. Ji mysteriously answered. I did not notice before that it smells so good, Mr. Ji thought. I was also scared, forcing the children to worry. So compensation for moral damage should also be counted, she added. She was still tightly pressed against him. With her hand, she began to slowly cross her fingers over his chest, moving higher and higher. Also add the fee for my game of the villain and the award for protecting family peace. She continued to speak, gradually rising with her fingers higher and higher. Mr. Ji felt as if excitement rose to his throat. A total of 30 million, it seems to me that it will be enough. Ann Ji joyfully finished her phrase. We have to go, brother. The next plot is not intended for children, the little pudding said. Children cannot see these things. So Pudding said. Ow Wow thought. He just watched two adults talk. Hey, Ji Jinchen, I do not agree to be with you. You must die, she said, feeling like Mr. Ji is pressed tightly against her.
Woman, you play with fire. This could be read from the views of the baby Ow Ow.
Although I am very worried about my mother, but I do not want to see such a dad of my life. We went, I'm sorry, Mommy, and take care of yourself. Ow Ow was indignant. Just read it from my duty, and I will still have 700 million to you, she said. Good. Is it better in your leg? I am worried, Mr. Ji said. Her recovery will take some time. Do not rush to leave. I have not finished with you yet. I have good skills in working with a computer, Mr. G, and your company is so big. Could you hire me? She asked. I do not want a lot, but an annual salary of 50 million is enough, okay? She asked this so gently, as if a fox wagged with a tail. This, so cute. She just said that she would come to my company, and then what? Mr. G thought. So, well, concentrate. No, I have to leave here faster, he said to himself. Okay, I'll think about it. I suddenly remembered that I still have some things, so he said, video. That everything works out as well as I can let you go now? She thought joyfully. Don't put pressure on me, she said mysteriously, and she made another supposedly awkward movement, accidentally grabbing him by the jacket. She was again on the bed, but this time she was lying on her back, and Mr. G was already from above. Mr. G, I understand what you mean. If you do not want me to work in your company, then you can say so, and not put pressure on me. I still have a trauma on my back, and she still hurts. She continued. I'm sorry. I didn't want... I thought a little... Mr. G apologized. I immediately reported to the personnel department. You can go to work the next Monday, he answered calmly. Wow. True? Thank you very much. She was delighted. The trick with my beauty is the #1 trick in the world. Soon I say goodbye to the surname Chi, she thought. Surprisingly, why does he walk so strangely? Looking at his gait, Ann Jiujiu thought. When she was left alone, after some time her phone rang. Hello, who is it? She asked.
My God, Jiujiu, you are still alive. It's me, Venuru.
We are good sisters who grew together. Do you remember me? She asked. Of course I remember, although I got into a car accident. But I did not lose my memory, answered Ann Jiujiu. At that time, your attitude with Bai Xinjun was so good that you could wear some pants for two. You even offered her the idea of pumping me with drugs. I remembered Ann Jiujiu. How could I forget my good sister? After all, I have not cut into your face yet, she added. Well, just fine. To celebrate your return, I specially arranged a party. See you tomorrow in the botanical garden? Okay, I'll come. Wrong. I made an appointment of you. After the conversation, she said. Thank you, Yuru. Now you are the only one I can rely on. This is what I was talking about earlier, the vile girl said with a swollen face after a slap in the face. Ah, how cute it is from you. This is a necklace that you cherish the most. Yuru was delighted. These are trifles. While you can help me kill her, you can do whatever you want in the future. This Ann Jiujiu seduced my boyfriend, forced him to tear the engagement with me. P.F. I will never let her go. Do not worry. When it is in my territory, and even if it does not die, then they will definitely take the skin from it, said Yuru. So that's why they called me to an appointment with the Bogani garden. Ann Jiujiu, what you were looking for on your phone. Oh, it turns out that a new hippodrome was built there. A new hippodrome appeared in the Bogani garden, and beautiful horses attract the crowd. Van Yuru really thought that I was still sweet and an unsportsmanlike idiot who could only cry. Of course, you can look at me down, but you will definitely pay for it. And she remembered how she brought her to pain and exhaustion in training. Well, thanks to Mr. G, for the fact that he helps me look after the children, but for now they are not here. I'll have a little rest. It rarely happens when it is possible to sleep so well. As soon as she thought about it, a notification came to the phone. Message from Mr. G. She opened a message and could barely restrain laughter. The strict and restrained Mr. G on his shoulders held a little dragon. Ha ha ha! She laughed from the photograph what he saw. And then messages with questions fell. How can I put them to sleep? I thought that if I allow them to play a little, then they themselves would fall asleep when they got tired. But it turned out that they were not going to go to bed at all. 3 hours had passed. Big horse, ride it, demanded a little dragon. With the playful character of Pudding, the unfortunate Mr. G will be tortured to death. She laughed. Let the children play a little before. How to go in bed. If they do not get cold, they will be too energetic. Try to tell the Pudding a fairy tale for the night. From this, it will fall asleep faster. The children continued to jump and frolic. Yes. Very good. Come on again. Really, if you tell them a fairy tale for the night, they really calm down, Mr. G thought. Pudding and business life. Dad will tell you a fairy tale, Mr. G said in a serious voice. Oh, this story. What did Mom tell? Pudding was delighted. Once upon a time, there was a queen who wanted her child's skin to be snow white. All children love stories about princesses, thought Mr. G. Oh, super. I know. My mother told this story. Pudding was delighted. Later, the queen died, and the king married the new woman of the princess's stepmother. The stepmother wanted to harm the stepdaughter. After the princess escaped, she met the prince, continued to tell Pudding. The princess later took advantage of the prince's power to return to the kingdom to expel the evil stepmother along with the ruthless king. Using the prince's strength, Mr. G thought. And what happened then? The principal of the princesses lived happily together. Aoao asked with interest. At the end, the princess won the throne and became the queen. Pudding finished telling a fairy tale. As for the prince, it does not matter, he added merrily. Not important? Mr. G was surprised. My mother said that when a man is strong, he will have 3 wives and 4 concubines, and the same for women, who will remember the old love when they will have new. Love is what you can deceive children. It is unrealistic, like a chicken leg before going to bed, said Pudding. Very smart words made a great impression on Mr. G. He already imagined how his princess was going to walk with 2 other guys. In the corridor, a strange roar was heard outside the door. Uncle Wu, is it you? Something happened? Mr. G asked, looking out into the corridor. This is me, a gentleman. The heart of this old man broke. I just wanted to bring a glass of milk with a young master. Why did I overheard this story? How can the prince and princesses not be together? Ah, my favorite fairy tale. Is she spoiled? Miss Anne, your coffee? Thank you, Uncle Wu. What is it to you? Something happened, she asked. The video of how badly Uncle Wu feels. Mommy, this is because of the story that I told yesterday. The story of the princess, said Pudding. Strange, what happened to that story? She asked. Miss Anne, shouldn't the princess and the prince be together in the final of the fairy tale? Should they be together for love? Uncle Wu touchingly remarked. Of course not. When the princess and the prince are together, it is rather an exchange of interest between the parties. As they say in a fairy tale, the probability of falling in love at first sight is almost 0, calmly answered Ann Jiujiu. The hearts of people are extremely confused. How can one find out each other at the first meeting? She asked. I don't think so. The low probability is not equal to 0, and even if there is the smallest chance, it can still happen. You are sitting in front of me now, Mr. G said. He heard these touching words. She realized that her heart struck an arrow of love. Consider as you want. I'm doomed. Mr. G learns too quickly to me to flatter. He made me embarrassed so quickly, she thought. This, I already ate, guys, but you are in no hurry. Feeling awkwardly, she got up from the table. Pef! She snorted. Murled, lying bastard. Disappeared! She continued to grumble. I have never been lying, Mr. G proudly said, and took a sip of hot, aromatic coffee. And why do we need these tales when we have everything in reality? Love comes too fast, like a tornado. The rest of the listeners noticed. Calm down, wrong. At that time, her supposedly girlfriends were already at the hippodrome. I know Ann Jiujiu is a complete profane in sports. Not to mention riding skills. Probably she never even touched the horse. Van Yuru said on the phone. She certainly does not expect that he will come to a horse today. So I mercifully prepared clothes for her. And when she sits in the saddle, her clothes will be torn to shreds. Added by Yuru. Moreover, I prepared for her the most sports horse at the hippodrome. And even if it does not fall from the horse to death, it will definitely remain a disabled person until the end of my life. She said, Ha ha ha. This is great. Bei Xinjiang was delighted. Don't worry. While we are following the plan, your advantages are certainly irreplaceable. I do not believe that by that time Mr. G will still want such a disabled person, Bai Xin thought. In addition, I still have this thing. And she looked at the flash drive with the information that was lying on her hand. Van Yuru, I am here. Called her Ann Jiujiu. Have you come for a long time? Yuru was distracted from the phone and was very surprised. Is it you? And even in this form? She clearly expected to see her in a completely different form. Ha! Have not seen each other for a long time, said Ann Jiujiu. What is happening? She is dressed in horseback riding? How does she know that today there will be riding horses? Surprised by Yuru? Seriously? You call her on the hippodrome and are surprised that she was planning a riding. Why are you dressed so dressed? She asked. I just watched the news and found out that there is a new hippodrome. Not to mention the fact that you are a person with hidden motives, Yuru, and the plans that you cook are naturally unusual. So I have to be prepared, right? Said Ann Jiujiu. Ha, yes, true. Why does I have the feeling that she scolds me? Thought Yuru. So, getting together, You have to act according to the plan. Jiujiu, but I'm afraid you might not know that today we came to ride horses, so I have prepared clothes for you. To be honest, your outfit is a little outdated, and we are now striving to be fashionable, right? So what can you try on this? Offered Yuro. Thank you very much, thanked Aniji, and she herself thought that the fox handed the hair well done, a cunning. Since this gift specially prepared Yuru, I have to consider it well. The style is a little rustic, more precisely ugly, but the material is crystal clean. As if from a cheap shop, these clothes are really suitable for a Euro. Ha, I no longer need this outfit. You must leave it for yourself, he suits you more, said Aniju. Yuru stuck that she had just beaten, and she screwed up. And Tsuji, now you can lift your nose, but soon I will force you to sob at my feet. I thought, Yuru, you are here for the first time, right? This is the most obedient horse. It is ideal for such a beginner as you. Offered an employee of Hippodrome. This horse even a trainer cannot tame. Ann Jiujiu, I look forward to when you fall. I thought Yuru joyfully. I am just delighted with it. I melt my car, close the doors. I stand for another minute and admire it. Back to our history. And you want to say that this is suitable for beginners? She thought. Well, he suits you very much. Climb and try, answered Yuru. With the character of Ann Jiujiu, she will take seriously if you say something carelessly. So what? Even if you disappeared for 5 years, I'm not a fool, she thought. There is, she fell on the hook. So and then... Aniji, she confidently put her leg in the stirrups. One light movement and it was already riding a horse. What? She got up herself? How is it possible? I was surprised by Yuru. Ha. Do you think that after my disappearance 5 years ago, I could only do what my son is growing? I was engaged in various sports, trained and developed myself, until I stopped being a weakle. Knowing that not much in sports, I decided that I would train 100 times better than others, until I stopped being weak. She continued to think. If you want to wear a crown, you must withstand its weight. She continued to think. She introduced herself to the queen with a high, raised sword. Another moment, and a fierce horse was completely in its power. He obeyed her every movement. What a cutie you are. She stroked the horse along her warm and delicate wool. How pleasant it is to feel the power and graceful of a ferocious horse under your control. I think I will understand the one who went riding a horse. How is it possible? Even our coaches this horse cannot do. The employee was surprised. Quietly goes, shut up, she shouted to him by Saru. Oh, is this really so? So is this the same thing that you meant by the words suitable for beginners? Asked Ann Jiujiu. No. Yuro was speechless for a moment and did not know what to answer in such a situation. After all, I am just a beginner and I can't control this horse. I thought Aniju. She went. She commanded, and the horse broke off. Ah! Do not come to me! Do not come close! The frightened Suru continued to scream. Oops, everything is very bad. It seems I can't control this horse. What should I do? Run, Yuro. Otherwise they will come to you. You think I don't see that you are managing? I continued to be indignant at Yuru while she was running away from the horse. Run faster. Otherwise they will come to you soon and trampled. Aniju was happy. Jutsu. Stop. You are not a person. Continued to be indignant at Yuru. Ah, help. I won't be anymore. Yuru was so out of breath that she asked for forgiveness. Now we will move to a huge structure of glass and concrete. This is the building of Chi groups. Mr. Ji, there is a lady by the name of Bai who wants to see you. She said that she has information about Ann Jiujiu. His assistant said, this is the younger sister of Ann Jiujiu. I wonder what her information may have, Mr. Ji thought. Let her. He ordered it. He is so hot. You look even more beautiful when it is passionate about work, Bai Blue thought. I'm very busy, so if you have something to say faster, he said in a strict voice. Let's talk about this. The beginning of his story, Miss Bai, but Mr. Ji interrupted it. Speak in short. Besides, your perfume smells too much. Therefore, stay away from me, he said strictly. What? Miss Bai was surprised. There are still men who don't like it? Interestingly, Jutsu. What soup with aphrodisiac you fed him, I do not believe. But he cannot be angry with me when he sees this video, she thought. I'm here to tell you about the true face of Ann Jiujiu. You must see it. And she handed him a flash drive. 5 years ago, she was already engaged in debauchery about the present. I am afraid that your heart, Mr. G, brazenly use. and you do not even suspect that the horns instruct you. She said, "Okay, I know. Now go away." Guard, hold Miss Bay to the exit. He strictly ordered, just, and all. Do not even answer anything. Miss Bai was surprised. Wait, Mr. Ji. Miss Bai tried to say something. Please leave the cabinet, the guard insisted. Mr. Ji, I still have something to tell you. You should know it. She was taken out the door. She still continued to scream. 5 years ago, he thought, looking at the flash drive that lay on his table. I wonder if it could be that night. He continued to remember what happened for so long. No, please, let me go. I don't want... The girl's voice shouted on the video. Mr. Ji decided to immediately check what kind of video on this flash drive. To be prey, you need to think when prey. A man said on the video, "Please stop." No, it hurts, the girl screamed. He did not find the video to the end. He was ashamed to watch it. He turned off the video and thought, strange. What's wrong with Mr. Ji? It seems that he is in a bad mood. His assistant drew attention. Mr. Ji, you watched the video? Miss Baishin decided to wait for him on the street. This is the real person of Ann Jiujiu. Do not go to her pretty appearance, she continued to scream. Madame, if you continue, I will call the guard. His assistant was indignant. Xiao Chen, let her go. You gave me this video with the aim of exposing the true face of Ann Jiujiu. What else do you want? He asked. Mr. Ji, you are a really smart person. I really want simple things, she said. It would be better if you came to Lucian Lucci Hotel at 8 o'clock in the evening. Would we talk about everything? She said. Mr. Ji looked at this chicken and tried to understand where they came from. Bai Xinjiang, right? To be honest, I have not met such brainless dogs like you for a long time. Mr. Ji calmly answered. Frank video not only has no legal force, but can also be punishable by law, since you have violated the inviolability of private life. And you still want to threaten me with something like that? He asked. Miss Bay, others are not suitable for you, so practice your own brain and read more books. He said. Xiao Chen, let's go. You, Ji Jinchen, are you not afraid that I will turn on the broadcast of this video through the screen in the square and will twist it around the clock? She asked. Then I will destroy not only Ann Jiujiu, but I also injure you in the back. You will be destroyed by public opinion with her. She continued to threaten. Plans should be implemented unnoticed, and what you just said now, moreover, revealed all your cards, will give me a chance to prevent you. He answered. And you? Of course you can try. Let's see at least one company to broadcast this video. If so, then I will lose. And they left about their business. Returning home, the butler opened the door and helped to take off his jacket. Strange. Where is Ann Jiujiu? She's already returned from the meeting, he asked. Yes, he returned. And now he plays with young gentlemen in the pool? The butler answered.
Ooh, Pudding, I see you! Annie G screamed cheerfully.
Everything is in order of Mom just deceiving us. Do not believe her, Ao Ao said in a whisper. They played hide-and-seek with water pistols.
Oh, isn't this a small leg of Ao Ao? Ha ha, Mother saw her. But her water gun was the largest.
Listen, she certainly didn't see anything, one of the kids said, because they hid very well. Oh, who is it here? And then suddenly, she came out from the corner. The kids were exposed. They urgently needed to look for a new place to hide.
Ha ha ha! Which of the two of you will I get the first? She asked cheerfully. Ha ha ha! The brother run!
The children continued to rejoice. Oh, what are you playing here? Father asked. Dad, hello, this is a game of hide-and-seek with water pistols. At that moment, someone pressed the trigger, and a stream of warm water flew through the pool. Oh, UPS. Guess who she got into? Of course, the largest target. Mr. Ji instantly became wet from head to toe. What else do children need in hot, sunny weather? Oh, what have we done? It seems Dad is very angry. No, but... Hey, soon something interesting will happen, said the baby. Ann Jiujiu, he said mysteriously, wiping drops of water from his face and hair. I was careless, but who asked you to jump out to the pool so suddenly? She asked. I give you exactly 5 seconds to run away, he said, suddenly from somewhere on how you are installation of the cycle, and Ofu Muscat where the baby was quietly lending his completely charged water pistol. 3, he said slowly. Why did you start counting with 3 and not from 5? Was surprised by Annie Jiu, and began to quickly run away. 2, he said slowly, and slowly began to draw the sight of the water pistol. "One," he said, and a stream of water flew over the entire pool, and Tissue miraculously dodged her. Family championship in the shooting of a water pistol. Commentator Pudding. Player Ann Jiujiu sleep, and escaped the attacks of the player Jinchen. Player Jinchen is currently able to end up, and the new batch of recharge is not foreseen. For him, the situation is very unfavorable. "A great chance," said Ann Jiujiu, and was already ready to shoot from her water pistol. "Wow, and the Teziju took advantage in time, but it's hard to dodge such a blow. Jinjong player is in danger," continued to comment on the pudding. "The volume for water is therefore not as effective as I would like," said Jinchen. The player Jinchen actually refused weapons. What would he do next? Continued to comment on the pudding.
"Humph! You have just become a live target. Let's see how you can handle it," I said cheerfully. "And Ann Jiujiu."
Ha, do you want to push me into the water? So I somehow decided to win me? Then do not stutter about the rules of the battle. I thought Ann Jiujiu. If so, let's fall together, said Ann Jiujiu. At that moment, she grabbed Jinchen by the tie and pulled along, straight into the pool. Spray scattered in different directions. There was a kid, and there was no kid, but he went to success. But it did not work out, did not flood. The game is over, a draw. Pudding whistled in a whistle. Jinchen, I accidentally spat on you water, and you decided to drown me. This is too cruel revenge, Monly said Ann Jiujiu. Each penny needs to be compared. Here is my life principle. Jinchen decided to respond with a proverb when he climbed out of the water. I am a very interesting personality, Miss Anne. Maybe over time, you can understand me, he said in a quiet voice. She saw his strong body, to which a black wet shirt stuck. From such a picture she instantly excited. He decided to seduce me. What kind of magic comes from this person? She was surprised. Mommy, what about your nose? The baby was surprised. And, what are you talking about? And she realized that blood from the nose appeared a little from excitement. Damn, my body is too honest. It immediately reacts to excitement. I'm ashamed of myself. She began to apologize. And it seems to me that nothing shameful natural reaction, and in general, he himself, it is guilty. Too defiant. Miss Anne, everything is in order. This is just human nature, he added. Take yourself in order and go to my office, he said. Everything is in order? Stop laughing, bastard. Stop laughing and leave. She continued to be indignant. A little later she came and knocked on his office. Jinchen, I came. What did you want to discuss with me? Bai Xinzhong today came to my company and gave it, he said calmly, and he handed her a flash drive. Inside the video recording. That night, 5 years ago, he said. Video? Is it really existing? And Sue was surprised. In her memory, paintings of your terrible night began to appear. The events of that night brought her a lot of pain and suffering. So, she also put the camera in that room then? Was surprised by Ann Jiujiu. Do you want to take revenge on her? I can help you with this, suggested Ji Jinchen. It is no longer tolerated to find out in what ways they will do it, because as we know, revenge unites people.